Hi, everybody. I'm Glenn Kuiper, and the first month of the baseball season has come and gone. Plenty of excitement and plenty of pretty good performances by players and teams. What I like to do at the end of each month is hand out some awards, but not really awards. There may be suggestions on who is an early favorite to win a certain award. How about that? So we're going to do that today since we have moved past April into May. And again, these are just my thoughts on who has taken an early lead in consideration for the big awards, So we're going to look at National League MVP, American League MVP, National League Cy Young Award, American League Cy Young. The basic four, the big four, we like to say. Who had good starts to the season? Let's start with the American League, or let's start with the National League. Let's start with the National League MVP candidates. Who has an early jump on the award? All right, this is my list of candidates. Kyle Tucker from the Cubs, Corbin Carroll from the Diamondbacks, Pete Alonso from the Mets, Teoscar Hernandez from the Dodgers, and Fernando Tatis from the San Diego Padres. There's my five candidates. The guy who I think wins it, or who I'm giving it to for April, is Pete Alonso from the New York Mets. Look at this guy's numbers. I mean, seriously. What do they call him? The polar bear? Alonso hit 343, 7 homers, 28 RBIs. So those are your good old-fashioned basic baseball numbers, right? Average home runs, RBIs. How about the OPS? 1132. 1132. And this is my favorite. Pete Alonso is this big, giant power hitter. Can hit over 50 home runs in a season. He has more walks than strikeouts as of today. And he's playing for the New York Mets. Mets are off to a great start. They're tied for the best record in baseball. So the Mets' best player in April, and he's playing for the Mets, who are having a great season. So my early candidate for the National League MVP, off to a great start, is Pete Alonso from the Mets. Now, how about the American League MVP? Stay with me here on my candidates. Alex Bregman. Alex Bregman goes to Boston. He's off to a great start playing third base. Aaron Judge, numbers speak for themselves. And you're going to laugh, but don't laugh because I want you to look at his numbers. Jorge Polanco. I know. You think I'm crazy. Look at Jorge Polanco's numbers for the Seattle Mariners. He's playing third base, and it's ridiculous what he's doing. Now, is he going to hang around? Will he be in this group on June 1st? Maybe not. But this is an easy one. Aaron Judge, the runaway winner. Check out the numbers. I mean, seriously, 427. He has 50 hits in 31 games in the month of April, and that OPS, 1282. Aaron Judge, the runaway April MVP top candidate. And we're going to do this at the end of each month, and he may be on top of the list each and every month. So there's your two MVP guys that I like off to great starts. Now, how about the National League Cy Young? This is interesting. Giants fans are going to hear a couple names that they may not like. Here's my candidates. Nick Pivetta from the Padres, Michael King from the Padres. Giants just saw these two guys, and they just lost to these two guys. Jesus Luzardo from the Phillies, Yoshinobu Yamamoto from the Dodgers, and Kodai Senga from the Mets. Those are my five early National League Cy Young candidates. The guy I'm giving it to is Nick Pivetta. You may say, what? You may say, who? But we saw Nick Pivetta on Tuesday night against the Giants, and he's very good. Pivetta, let's give this guy, I mean, come on. He's 5-1 with a 1.78 ERA. Signed as a free agent, got a pretty good contract to come from the Red Sox to the San Diego Padres. He's off to a great start again, 5-1. So he's the early National League Cy Young candidate. Now let's go to the American League for their Cy Young candidates. Max Fried from the Yankees. Hunter Brown from the Astros, youngster who's finally healthy. He's pitching great. And Casey Mize. Remember Casey Mize? Number 1 draft pick a while back. He was the first pick. Giants took Joey Bart second. Carson Mize has had injuries. Not anymore. Carson Mize is off to a terrific start. He's got a 4-1 record for the Tigers. It's a good young Tiger team. And let's give Carson, it's Casey Mize. Let's give Casey Mize his due. But the winner here is, and this was a fairly easy one, it was Max Fried. Max Fried is 5-0 with a 1.19 ERA. Doesn't have a lot of strikeouts, but Max Fried is pitching deep into games. He got that huge contract, 8-year deal with the Yankees, and a lot of people said, whoa, that's too much money and that's too long of a contract. Well, so far, Max Fried has lived up to it, a perfect 5-0 for the Yankee left-hander. So those are the guys that I pick, the leading candidates for Cy Young MVP in the American League and the National League. I don't know what you guys think. You may agree, you may disagree, but I want to know. Now we're going to go to some teams because we can't just talk about the players. We got to talk about the teams. The categories here for me are going to be disappointing teams and surprise teams. Okay? Who's the most disappointing team in the National League? I say in the month of April, it was the Pittsburgh Pirates. A lot of talk about the Pirates. A lot of talk about good young pitching staff. But they're off to a 12-19 record. The criticism with the Pirates off-season was they didn't do a lot. And it's starting to show very early on. Last year, they were last in the National League home runs, second in the National League in strikeouts. This year, exact same situation. If you're not hitting home runs and you're striking out a lot, that's a bad combination. And the Pirates did it all last year, and they're doing it again this year. And remember, they have Paul Skeens, who's terrific. And the big 1-2 punch was going to be Skeens and Jared Jones. We saw Jared Jones last year. He pitched against the Giants. A right-hander, nasty stuff, strikeout guy. You could build a whole rotation around Skeens and Jones. Well, Jones is on the injured list. Skeens is pitching fine. But all in all, I think the Pirates have been a disappointment so far with their 12-19 record. So they are my most disappointing team in the National League in the first month of the season. In the American League, I think it's the Baltimore Orioles. Remember, the Baltimore Orioles are 12-18 as we head into the month of May. Sitting near the bottom of the AL East. And this is a team, if you look at the last 2 years, they have made the postseason the last 2 years, and they have all these young players rising up, starting to get their feet wet, starting to produce big time. So you're looking at the future's really, really bright for the Baltimore Orioles. But it has not been a good start. And they, in my opinion, have been the most disappointing team in the American League. Rushman struggling, Holiday struggling, Henderson struggling. These are these young, soon-to-be stars, but they have not got off to a great start. And remember, they lost Corbin Burns and Anthony Santander to free agency. It looks like, at least in the early going, that they may not have replaced those guys. So the Baltimore Orioles, my most disappointing team in the American League to start the year. Who is the 2 surprise teams in each league? One from each league. The surprise team for me in the American League is the Boston Red Sox. Interesting here, though. I don't know that surprise is maybe the best way to put it, but we've come to expect the Red Sox to be good every year, to make the postseason every year. But they haven't been to the postseason since 2021, and they've only been to the postseason once in the last 6 years. We've almost forgotten about them a little bit. Did you ever think you would forget about the Boston Red Sox? But they got a pretty good young team. They got a ton of minor league talent, big talent, and the Red Sox could be back. So yeah, a little bit of a surprise, but they're 17-15, and they got a lot to look forward to. So right now, the Boston Red Sox are my surprise team in the American League. Now, in the National League, I had to think about it for a little bit. Actually, I didn't think about it very long at all. It's the San Francisco Giants, who come into May with a 19-12 record, We've all watched all the games. We've seen this Giants team. I know they dropped the last two in San Diego, but I don't think there's any question that they are the surprise team in the National League. Maybe the Cubs could be in that mix as well, but it's interesting. What we have seen is a change in an organizational philosophy and how much difference it can make to a baseball team and to the roster and to the fan base and to the city. And what we're seeing is change in the standings because the Giants have done a real nice job. So those are my individual awards. Those are my team awards. I don't know if you agree, disagree, but whatever you do, I want to hear from you. Drop it in the chat room, or again, you can email me and give you my email address. It's glennkuiper@gmail.com. Tell me what you think. I want to know if you agree or disagree with me. And follow me on X, formerly Twitter, @Kuiper Baseball. And most importantly, hit the subscribe button for the Glenn Kuiper Show right here on the YouTube channel. Thanks, everybody.